emotional. I feel like I want to cry. I am so excited to be talking from this space in which I feel right now. Like, my goal for a lot of my adult life, since I've tried to kind of practice awareness, just deepen my personal like development, I've just wanted to live like through my heart. I'm so used to living in my head, just going about my life, just being this version of myself that doesn't even align with me. It's like autopilot. And then you just have this constant conflict, because you can be such a spiritual person, you can do all the things, you can be doing everything, and you're like, why am I not happy? Why am I depressed? And sometimes your soul just needs to go through these patterns and these cycles, and you have to trust the process. You have to listen to the things you're telling yourself. You have to become aware and practice these things. That's why they're called practices, because they take time. You don't just know something or learn something and then everything's different. You have to go through it. That's life. That is life. That's what we're here to do. To go through these things, break those cycles, to learn, to realise. And that takes time. That's what recovery has taught me. And that's why I'm so grateful for everything that I've been put through. Or not been put through it. Like, I was meant to go through this shit, and I'm so glad that I have. It's the same for everything that I've faced so far in my life. As heartbreaking and as tiresome as it can be sometimes, and confusing and uncertain, I am so grateful for every part of it. Even now, I'm in a space in my life where, on paper, this is to some people not success. This is to some people even maybe going backwards. Where I am right now in the moment of filming, but I have such optimism for where I'm headed. I have such trust for why all of this has happened in the way it's happened. I feel so blessed to have been able to go away for a little bit, because it's just accelerated my recovery in a way that has taught me so much. And I'm just so grateful for life. And I just now realise that above everything, the compassion that I show myself, the things that I tell myself when no one is around, or even if they are around, it's only dialogue I can hear because it's in my head. The way I talk to myself, the way I perceive things, the way I look at life, that's what's important. It's that relationship that you have. Unless you are calm and cool and at peace, you're gonna view everything through the lens that perceives things based on the limited beliefs you have, the stories you told yourself, the way you've been conditioned to think your whole life. And that's not your fault, it's fine. And even that is like, even the fact that we all go so quickly to blame ourselves. That's what I did, still do, for so long. I just blame myself every time I couldn't get it right, every time I couldn't get recovery right, every time I couldn't just do these simple things. What's wrong with me then? What's wrong with my brain? And it's like, stop, like, that's what's wrong. The fact that you are so quick to even blame yourself. You are exactly where you are for a reason. You are exactly in this position because of the way you've been brought up, the way you've been conditioned to think, your environment, your parents, your ancestors, the energy and frequency the whole world is vibrating at. So much that you don't even really have control of has led you to this point. But really, you have the control, and you gain the control once you realise all of that. And like, now I'm just realising all of the things that I just naturally go to do and like just give me such fulfillment is just learning this and loving this and expressing this. And you know, I love music and anything creative. That was what my younger self would naturally do. I'd come back from school and I would sing, and I would make a play, and I would make a dance, and I would write songs, and I would create videos, and I would draw, I would write poems, I would read scripts. Whatever it is, like, always loved like the arts, and I've always appreciated it. But I think that's what it should be. It should be that you love to do it, and so you do it when you have this pull to do it. Not what a lot of these industries have become now. They've become something that it's like the fame comes first. That's what's most important to these industries, is to find something that will generate money. And so we'll make what generates money first, and like put your creative thing to the side. Like, that's not what matters. Like, this sells, so you should be doing this. But that's not art, and that's never what a musician set out to be. When I started deciding that I wanted to do music, I was very, very shy. I loved it, so I wanted to start pursuing this and trying to take it seriously, and it's helped me so much on my journey to meet people and to grow in myself, in my character, and learn so much about myself and push myself because of how much I love to do it. But I struggled so much at the beginning because of my shyness and because of my own limiting beliefs, whether it was being in the creative process in the studio and actually believing in myself enough to do it, believing in myself enough to like say, what about this, like what about this lyric, or what about we change that, because I didn't know what I was doing, didn't know if there was like a blueprint or a recipe, a way to be in the studio and to do these things. So I didn't really trust myself because of the way that I didn't trust myself in general. I just would show up like that in the world. So, you know, it was hard like sometimes in the studio because I just wouldn't trust myself. And then just because of life and the opportunities and the blessings that it's put in my path, the things that I've been forced to kind of like understand and get better in, I trust myself so much more. It's still something I battle with, like just trusting myself. But that's the cycle, and I feel like it's got like less and less because of how much work I've been putting into that, to trusting myself. And having this eating disorder and then wanting to recover from it has helped force me to trust myself. And so now I'm in this situation where I love music, I love art, and I'm going to continue to do those things because I love to do them. But am I going to do it at the expense of my mental? No, never, never again. There'd be sleepless nights. I had insomnia for like a while and I was going to therapy. Leave from work. This was only like last year. Nearly 2 years ago now, but this was last year. And I would go from work to therapy and I would walk there and I'd cry the whole way because I just didn't know what was wrong with me and I just felt so low and lost. I was literally making hardly any money and I was putting all my money to this because all I wanted to do was just get better. I just wanted some helps, and this therapist was lovely. She was a lovely lady. I could tell. I was just looking at her while I was telling her what I was thinking. I was just thinking, this lady does not have a clue what to say to me right now. And I hate it because sometimes I come out and I'd feel even more confused, and I believe therapy is such a beneficial and important way of recovering and healing and getting over things and overcoming. But you have to find the right one, and I just felt like, even though I could tell this lady was lovely and her intentions were pure, like she just didn't know how to help me. And I would go there and I remember telling her, I can't sleep, I'm in bed and I'm just thinking about lyrics, about song lyrics. My mind won't shut down. It's like I feel like I need to be writing a song, I need to be doing this thing. I'm not in the creative space when I'm trying to sleep. I was forcing myself to try and do these things because I thought that's what I needed to be doing to look like I'm being a good artist. There is no such thing as a good artist or a bad artist. That's what I've made myself believe because I put the pressure on myself. Because I just think I have to be this to look like an artist. And that's not why Bob Marley sat and wrote a song. That's not why Amy Winehouse sat and wrote her music. So why the fuck am I going to do that? It drove me to this perpetuating cycle of I'm not doing enough, I have to be doing something, I have to rush, I need to be doing this, I need to be doing all these things, I need to write this list, and this anxiety and my cortisol levels would go up. I thought I was okay and I was putting all these stresses on my body, and I just drove myself to fucking insanity. To the point where insecurities that I have dealt with my whole life were increased, but I thought I had control over them through the eating disorder. Even though eating is never something I've had a problem with. I love food and I've never tried to limit myself from it, but my value was in all the wrong things. And so these beliefs that are underlying start controlling everything and you don't even realise it, and then they've got a hold, and then you think that's a good thing. You're like, hey, this is a good thing, I've got control and discipline over this part of my life, for the wrong reasons. And now everything else is controlled by it, and now my health is deteriorating, and now I'm losing circulation in my fingers and my toes, and now my relationships are decreasing because I don't want to see anyone. I'm a shell of who I was, and I'm losing interest in absolutely everything. I can't do anything. I'm emotionally deteriorating. I can't make decisions. Now I can't create. Now I can't show up. Now my life revolves around staying warm because I'm so fragile and sensitive to everything. Now I'm depressed. Now I can't see a way out. Now I have like lost myself. So yeah. So much has helped me on my journey, and I want to talk about all of that. You know, I'm not even recovered yet. There's still a long way to go in this, but hopefully you can see, even just looking at where I was a few months ago when I made like this TikTok, when I'd just been diagnosed with anorexia. Now looking at that, it's just crazy. Like I've always said, all of these things, they are mental disorders. They are not physical. The physical part comes after. The physical is a result of everything going on internally. And so it shows on my body after what I've been thinking for all these years of my life. The way I've been treating myself, the way I view things, how I measure things, how I measure beauty, what I put my value in, what I care about, how rigid I am, the decisions I make. It shows on the body after, but that doesn't mean it hasn't been going on for years and years and years before that. So it's so important to remember that when you speak to people. You could be speaking to someone who is anorexic, but they just haven't lost all that weight yet. You just never know what someone's going through. The internal battles, like, it will usually show on the body eventually, but why wait for it to get to that point? Just understand that people can be going through so many internal battles. We all are. It would be silly to think that someone isn't going through any internal battle. We are. That's what makes us human. We're all going through shit. And that's the reason why all of these things happen to us and come up. And I think as soon as I've realised that these happen so that we can use them to better ourselves and to grow and to elevate, then the better for all of us. The better life can be, really. It's not about making life free of suffering or pain, because that's not realistic. Life has to have pain and suffering. But we create a lot more of it for ourselves than we need to, because we resist it or we run away from it. Whereas if we invite it and we make peace with it and we accept it, then it doesn't actually have to feel as painful. We don't have to cling or resist or like just have that tension. Like, we'll feel it. We'll feel that tension there. But that fighter in us that we all have sits with it. And it's just so empowering to like speak from this space, because where I'm speaking from right now, I haven't always felt so certain in what I'm saying, and now I know it because I just know it. Life is just crazy. And I'm just so grateful for all of the ebbs and the flows and everything that comes along with it. There's so much I have to speak about. I've written down so many things and I haven't spoken about any of them yet. I think this is just a nice little comeback video. I was going to make this about my vlog for Bali, because I've just come back from Bali for a month. But you know what? That's going to be a whole separate thing. So yeah. I guess I just needed to let that out. I've got so many ideas for content and things that I want to make, events that I want to hold, space that I want to hold. Like always, I'm always here for anyone that ever wants to connect. And I just want to help people as I go through my life, because I don't know, like what the fuck is this shit, man? We're all here just to help each other on our way, you know? No one is better than the other. There could be someone with a much lower IQ than you. That doesn't mean they can't teach you something. The universe puts everything in your path to teach you something, consciously and unconsciously. Every relationship, every interaction that you have, every circumstance that you go through is there to teach you something. So even now when I'm filming this, and sometimes I struggle with like getting my words out or saying things, just shows me where I'm at. But I know I'm so further along than where I used to be, and I'm realising that whilst filming this. Like, I used to like find it cripplingly hard, I don't even know if that's the word, to just say things because of the belief that I had for myself, the trust that I had for myself. I'd be constantly, when I'm speaking, be like viewing it from an outside perspective, because I cared so much about the way that people might perceive it. I'd just be judging myself, like just constantly judging and criticising myself, to the point where I had to have this extension of me viewing myself from a third person to decide whether or not that was acceptable. But if I'm living as that extension, then I'm not living here and I'm not centered. I'm not living. And then that's not authentic. And if I care so much about being authentic and being real, then I can't pretend to be saying these things when I'm not really there. When I'm saying them, I'm over here. Does that make sense? That might not make sense to anyone, but I'm so glad that I just said that, because now really that makes so, like, yeah, that makes so much sense to me. It's only been like the last month that I've really worked my way back to here. I'm not saying this like, oh, I know now. I'm very in the middle of this practice and this transformation. I'm really gaining my own awareness of it as I go through it. But let me tell you, like, the more you trust, the more blessings that will come your way. Whatever faith you are, whatever you believe in, just trust. And just really, like, if I could say anything, just become aware of the way that you talk to yourself. That's so important above everything. Just become aware. The space in between your thoughts and the reason why you make the decisions you make, what you say to yourself and how you say it and why you say it, just really try to become aware of it. Pause when you can, try and become aware of it, because you'll notice like a lot. And then decide if that aligns with the actual version of you that you wanted to be. Ways to do that are meditation and breath work, cold water immersion. For me, I've put breath work above everything and I prioritize doing that every day. Since I've been doing that, it's changed my life. It's absolutely changed my life. And there's like science behind the crazy things that I'll be feeling when I'm doing it. A good person to watch to understand the actual science behind it, if you're someone that needs to see things like the logic before you believe it or whatever, is Dr. Joe Dispenza. And I read his book Becoming Supernatural last year because it really bridges the science and the mystic world together. I still feel so early on my journey with all of this, but I feel like I've set my foundation now and I'm really grateful for that. And so I want to burn my... We've got one left! Oh, that's got to be a sign. I have all the incense sticks that are for each chakra, and this is the root chakra. And I've got one left. So I'm going to burn this. And I'm going to close this video here. And yeah. Just stick with me because I've got more content coming. I genuinely sat down here because I wanted to do a video about my trip. And now I'm realising that wasn't what needed to come out of me today. But that's okay. Let me know anything you'd want to see, like content wise. Any questions as well, put them down in the comments. I will definitely answer them for you. So yeah, lots of love.